Hello humans, I am the Black Cat and we've finally reached the end of the Unexplained Mysteries Iceberg. We're at Tier 8, it's been a wild ride. Anyway, let's get on with it. On the 9th of February 2004, Maruura Murray, a 22-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, disappeared without a trace. According to investigators, Murray emailed her professors saying she had a family emergency and would be gone for a week. However, there was no family emergency. At approximately 7:27 p.m, a local woman reported a car accident on a sharp corner on the route of 112 adjacent to her home. A passing motorist who also lived nearby stopped at the scene and asked the woman driving the car if she needed assistance. She declined, claiming to have called roadside assistance. Upon arriving home several minutes later, the motorist reported the accident to emergency services. At 7:46 p.m, law enforcement arrived at the scene, but the woman had disappeared. By all outward appearances, it looked like she wanted to get away from someone or something. She had packed up her room at university and taken money out of her bank. The witness that approached her at the crash site when she crashed her car said that she asked them not to call the police, that she had called AAA, but AAA stated that there was no call from her. So the police listed her as a missing person. Where she went and why is still unknown. Flash forward to the 1-year anniversary of her disappearance, and a video is posted on YouTube by a user called 112 Dirtbag. The video is about a minute long and shows a man looking at the camera and laughing. At the end is the title card saying happy anniversary. Because Maruura was last seen on Route 112 and it's been exactly a year since her disappearance, obviously lots of people made the connection with this video. The video was taken down soon after it was posted, but some people managed to save it and re-upload it. So the question is, was this person connected to the disappearance of Maruura Murray, or was he just a bit tapped in the head? In Lhohq, Zimbabwe, Africa, in 1994, approximately 60 children claimed to have witnessed a UFO landing and seeing two little men come out of the UFO. The teachers were in a meeting at the time, so there were no adults around to witness it, leading some to believe that it was just the kids' imagination. But researchers who interviewed the children say that even though the children have different backgrounds and cultures, they all corroborate each other's story. Now as adults, when interviewed, they still maintain that it was all real. They described beings with big heads, just two small holes for a nose, and either no mouth or just a slit for a mouth, with long black hair. The children said they were dressed in dark suits and communicated telepathically. One witness said, "I think it's about something that's going to happen. What I thought was maybe the world's going to end. They're telling us the world's going to end. I don't even know. This just popped into my head." He never said anything. He talked just with his eyes. It's interesting that they basically described the greys, but they said they had long black hair. Long straight black hair, which is interesting. Anyway, this reminds me of a similar story from Australia where 300 children and some adults witnessed a UFO at a school. But I was thinking of doing a longer video about that story, so let's move on. Lhohq, or the Laughing Horse Orifice Headquarters, is a mysterious website that contains a lot of weird imagery, videos, and so forth. One video on the site is taken from the Church of the Subgenius, which is a made-up church as a kind of anti-church statement or anti-religion statement. According to YouTuber blameitonjorge, who did more of a deep dive into the website, there's lots of references to American politicians and politics. He also draws parallels with an artist that was very anti-mainstream. All this leads me to believe that the whole website is an art project that's aimed to be anti-establishment. I would of course suggest checking out blameitonjorge's video if you're interested, because like I said, he goes into a lot deeper than I care to. On the 24th of April 1964, Sergeant Lonnie Zamora was pursuing a speeding car south of Socorro, New Mexico, when he heard a roar and saw a flame in the sky to the southwest some distance away. Believing a local dynamite shack might have exploded, Zamora said he discontinued the pursuit and investigated the potential explosion. Zamora claimed to have observed a shiny object that he initially believed to be an overturned white car. The object was like aluminium. It was whitish against the background, but not chrome, and shaped like the letter O. Zamora claimed to have briefly observed two people in white coveralls beside the object, who he later described as normal in shape, but possibly they were small adults or large kids. Zamora claimed to hear a roar and see a blue and orange flame under the object, which then rose and moved away quickly. There are a few theories. Of course, UFO enthusiasts believe he saw a UFO, while others believe he could have seen a testing of a lunar landing device by personnel from the White Sands Missile Range, or it was a prank perpetrated by students from a nearby New Mexico tech school. In Texarkana, Texas, between February and May of 1946, there was a string of attacks. 10 people were attacked in total. 5 of those people were murdered. The killer was named the Phantom Killer, or the Phantom Slayer, and was never identified. People in the area armed themselves out of fear, and some people decided to try and bait the killer, but they were unsuccessful. There was apparently a movie made that was loosely inspired by the killings, called The Town That Dreaded Sundown, but loosely based on a true story is not the same as a true story. Out of the surviving victims, only the first couple to be attacked gave a description. They described him as being 6 feet tall, wearing a white mask over his face with holes cut out for his eyes and mouth. Although one believed he was a young, dark-skinned white man under 30 years old, the other believed he was a light-skinned African American. The only other surviving victim never saw her assailant. But of course, he was never identified, never caught, and the killings just stopped, probably because everyone was arming themselves. Why is this something rather than nothing? Is a philosophical question first raised by philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. So instead of asking how the universe came to exist, the question becomes, why is there a universe to begin with? Leibniz thought that the fact that there is something and not nothing requires an explanation. The explanation he gave was that God wanted to create a universe, which makes God the simple reason that there is something rather than nothing. But what if you don't believe in God? I mean, that explanation itself doesn't really work. It's like saying God works in mysterious ways to explain away anything that can't be explained. Personally, that question is too big for an internet cat, so I'll leave that for you to ponder. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. That brings us to the end of the Unexplained Mysteries Iceberg. Did you enjoy it? Were there any stories that stood out to you? There were some stories that I wouldn't mind doing a longer video on, but I find a lot of the modern stories involving technology, like websites and stuff, just didn't grab my attention. Maybe you can suggest a story I can explore. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this video and the end of the iceberg. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!